Hey folks, this is David Bell, Vice President of Gershman Mortgage, Certified Credit Counselor, and Financial Peace University Instructor. And today we're going to work through the idea of putting together a simple budget. A budget does not need to be super complicated. Some of the best budgets are done with pencil and paper, so they can be reviewed and adjusted as needed. So in carrying on the conversation from last time, here are a few easy steps to starting a budget quickly. Step number one, identify your net income. Notice I said net income. This is not your gross income. This is what you actually get to keep after all the deductions. Two, track your spending realistically. And you're going to see me say realistically quite a few times in this video because fact of the matter is garbage in, garbage out. We're going to do this with pencil and paper. We're going to do this so we can adjust the numbers as we realize what they really are. So first piece is start with your fixed expenses. These are going to include rent, car payment, student loan payments, any funds that you're setting aside for savings, your regular insurance expenses, and your child care. These are those regular expenses, these ones that don't go up and down, they don't fluctuate. They're the same thing each month. We do those first because they're going to be the easiest ones. The next piece is we're going to add in those estimated numbers, those ones that will adjust a little bit each month. This is like your gas. This is like utilities, cable, internet. Unless they're fixed. If those things are fixed, your cable, your internet, your utilities, put those up on the first section of expenses because we know they're fixed. We know what they're going to be monthly. But gas, groceries, sometimes your cell phone bill, or your vehicle maintenance, those should be in your monthly estimated amounts. And when we come to estimates, I always suggest estimating high as opposed to estimating low. We can always adjust these down if we are way too far off the mark. After we get those estimated in, now we need to take a look at annual expenses. And what we do is we know that we have expenses that pop up once a year. We're going to take those expenses, we're going to divide those by 12. This would include things like the gifts that we buy for holidays and for birthdays. And then also things like our vehicle tags. We know they pop up once a year. We should plan for that. Take that amount, divide by 12, so that by the time it gets here, we've got that money readily available. Finally, don't forget the incidentals. Credit card payments, average spend on clothing, entertainment, and miscellaneous items. And here's the thing about entertainment and miscellaneous. Having a budget does not mean you don't get to do fun things. It means you have set an amount aside to do the fun things. So you know you can spend that money and not feel bad about it later. So next, add up all those expenses and subtract them from your monthly net income to determine what your remaining balance is. Then review and adjust for accuracy. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. Are these numbers realistic? Next, put your budget into action. And once you've had about a month of living through that budget, then you need to take a look and review again and adjust as necessary. Do you need to adjust the budget or do you need to adjust your spending habits? So we take our net income minus our expenses and we figure out what's remaining. And the key here is this is not a zero-sum cash flow plan. I promise we will do that in another episode. But what we're trying to figure out right now is what we have left that we can work with and go forward. So if you have funds remaining after subtracting the expenses from your net income and you feel confident you have the math correct, then you can play with the numbers to see how a different payment, like changing from renting to a mortgage or from one mortgage payment to a possibly higher payment, could affect your overall plan. So from there are two more steps when it comes to the idea of possibly getting a new house. And that is knowing how much we can budget for that new monthly payment. That, in addition to what we're considering to use for down payment, those two factors will allow a mortgage lender to back into the right size mortgage payment for your budget. Otherwise, you run the risk of being pre-qualified simply off your debt to income ratios, which is a risky way to see what you qualify for a home loan. Remember, knowledge is power and it's very lightweight, but the devil is in the details. I'm David Bell with Gershman Mortgage. Get educated, not sold.